Hi, everybody.
All right, excellent.
So I'd like to begin the meeting for the May 19th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting. Good evening. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the City of Tucson Planning Commission. My name is Chuck Martin. I am the chair of the commission. Responsibilities of this body are to advise the Mayor and Council and the Planning and Development Services Department on the adoption of long-range plans, policies, specific plans, and regulations that affect land use and development. I think we have a new member tonight with us, Patricia Schwartz. Please welcome Patricia. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Hi. Thanks. Yeah, my name is Patricia Schwartz. I just finished a master's in geography, and my research is on green infrastructure in urban regions, particularly in the Southwest, and I'm excited to join you all. So thanks.
Great. It's nice to have a larger number at the meeting. So will staff call the roll, please?
All right, Chair Martin.
Here.
Commissioner Gast. Absent. Commissioner Fink.
Here.
Commissioner Cassidy.
Here.
Commissioner McBride Olson.
Here.
Commissioner Pafford. Absent. Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Saylor Brown.
Here.
Commissioner Willett.
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz-Pino. Absent. Commissioner Lucia.
Here.
And Commissioner Schwartz.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. The next item is approval of the legal action report. The chair would like to note that it appears on item 3. It was noted as a study session, and I believe that was a public hearing. I'd entertain a motion for approval of legal action report for April 7th, 2021. I have a motion.
I move to approve.
A second. Who was the second? Oh, sorry, Council. We have a motion to second. Any discussion? All those in favor of recommending this item to Mayor and Council say aye.
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 Any opposed say nay. Hearing none, the motion passes. The next item is number 3, home-based hair salon UDC text code amendment. Would the staff please provide their presentation for item 3?
All right. And thank you, Chair Martin and the Commission. I do want to mention or notice that Commissioner Pafford has joined the group.
Thank you.
With that, item number 3, this is home-based hair salons. This is the review of the proposed text amendments to the Unified Development Code related to hair salons as home occupations, and this is a study session. So provide you a little bit of background kind of related to this. We don't have the exact dates on a lot of this stuff. We went back and talked to former employees and things of that sort to get an understanding of it. But prior to really 1980, back in the 70s, home-based hair salons were allowed as a home occupation land use in the city of Tucson in our zoning code. In the 1980s, home-based hair salons were eventually prohibited. And this was to align with restrictions that were imposed by Pima County wastewater due to concerns about chemicals and water safety, essentially. So what's happened in the last 10 years or so is that those restrictions were removed by Pima County wastewater because of changing rules at the state level related to how to deal with the water and the water discharge from those facilities. So at that point, they removed that restriction. We have not at this point removed our restriction, even though the county does allow for these home-based hair salons. So on March 18th, 2021, Councilmember Kasachik and Vice Mayor Lee requested a study session item to discuss kind of changing our regulations related to this. And on April 20th, they did hold a study session on the home-based hair salons, where they directed staff to remove the restriction for the home-based hair salons and to increase the occupancy of these businesses to 1 client at a time and a maximum of 10 clients per day. The discussion at the time was basically that there are certain hair salons that can kind of do them very quickly to where they only take 10 minutes or something of that sort. So the restriction of 5 was a little low, and they wanted to go up to 10 essentially. So that was the discussion, and they brought it to us. It says review timelines in the UDC. That is from my previous presentation. Don't worry about that. But the issue here is home-based hair salons. They are commonly allowed as a home occupation land use throughout the state, but they are prohibited in Tucson. It was originally prohibited at the direction of Pima County Wastewater. However, when they lifted that prohibition, it allows for us to go ahead and do that as well and allow for these now. So our proposed amendments is to allow for the hair salons as a home occupation, and then amend the occupancy limits to allow for no more than 10 clients per day and only 1 client per time on the permitted on site. So the amendments that you see in front of you look like this. It's basically 2 sections. It is 4.9.7.E.12, adding in that for hair salons only, no more than 10 clients per day and 1 client at a time shall be permitted on site. And then it's removing hair salons from the prohibited uses, which are all automotive service and repair and then medical service uses. With that, we recommend Planning Commission approve a motion to set home-based hair salons for a public hearing on June 16th, and we are happy to take any of your questions related to this.
Thank you, Daniel. I'd now like to open it up for any questions of the commission as of staff related to the information.
Mr. Chair, I have a question.
Yes, Thomas?
Daniel, on item number 7, it says goods shall not be sold on the premises. What's the harm in allowing a hair salon to sell some product from their home? I don't know any hair salon that I've ever gone to where I haven't kind of wanted to buy the stuff they're sticking in my head, on my head.
So Commissioner Saylor Brown, I believe the intention of that was that they just didn't want to have a large amount of retail business coming through at home-based businesses. So it's not directly for hair salons or things of that sort. So I think that's what that is pertaining to. It doesn't mean that we can't make a recommendation to mayor and council that says, we should be doing that type of thing.
Yeah, I think it would be nice if they knew that they would be allowed to sell a little bit of product out of their space. Certainly not going to impact.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
Yeah, I do, Chuck.
Commissioner Fink?
What is could you tell me what I guess this is 2-part, but what the reason is to restricting the number of clients to 10, and is 10 sufficient for somebody who's doing this as a home occupation to actually make a living?
Of course, yeah, no, thank you, Commissioner Fink. So this came out of the study session. You can go back and watch it. They actually had three people who are so they had 3 people who had these businesses who are looking to do this, and they had asked them, the mayor and council had asked them if 10 would be appropriate, and they did say yes, 10 seems to be appropriate, allow that flexibility for a certain amount of customers. So that was the reason kind of why we landed on 10. I think the reason why they didn't want to go much further than that is just because of the potential for increased traffic. So if you have 20 people coming through in a day, maybe that's too much. Again, these are somewhat arbitrary numbers, but that's how they decided on 10.
Okay, I mean, seeing you're only allowed to have 1 customer at a time, I don't think traffic would be that big of a deal. But if the people, assuming that the 3 people they talked to representative, if they think 10 is fine, then I don't have a problem. I was just, I don't want to make it so low that they can't really make a living if this is how they're making a living.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Commissioner Fink.
Any other commissioners have any questions?
I have a question. This is Commissioner Cassidy.
Go ahead.
As far as the number 10, I don't see why a hair salon should be any different than any other home occupation as far as the number, the 5 versus the 10. Like, for example, if somebody's doing alterations out of their house, they're going to be limited to 5, but their neighbor who has a hair salon can have 10. So I'm just not sure it's a good idea to have a separate regulation for one type of use and then restrict everybody else further than that.
Thank you, Commissioner Cassie. Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible that we, again, this could be additional recommendation. We're following the guidance from mayor and council related to this, but we can always have a recommendation that could go above and beyond that or do something different. So thank you. That's a good feedback.
Right. So my recommendation in that case would be that it should be the same across the board.
Okay, thank you.
And then I have another little thing. As I was reading through E4, the first sentence where it says no more than 25% of all buildings on the lot. At first, I was thinking it was 25% of the number of the buildings on the lot. So if I have a house, 2 sheds, and a workshop, then one of those buildings can be devoted to the home occupation. But as you read further, it becomes evident that it's meant to be the cumulative square footage. So as long as you're opening this up for code amendment, I would suggest touching that up a bit.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Any other questions? Sorry.
Yeah, can I just make a response to Commissioner Cassidy's statement? And I think she makes a good point about it being consistent, but I think another way of making it consistent would be to raise the number of customers people can have in the other businesses. If I'm doing alterations and I only get 5 customers, that's almost like a hobby. That's not an occupation. So I would look at it the other way, and maybe we should look at raising the number of clients a person could have in the course of the day. I mean, I think if someone is a CPA, particularly this time of year, they're probably going to have more than 5 clients. And I just don't see what the big deal is, particularly if we're restricting it to 1 customer at a time. So maybe that's just a different way of looking at the problem that Commissioner Cassidy has identified. That's
I'll
it.
chime in again, based on what Commissioner Fink just said, I don't have a preference for the 5 or the 10. I just think it should be consistent. So if staff maybe wants to think about what the appropriate number is and make a recommendation, that would be great. I just don't think that one type of use should have a different limit than every other use.
Thank you. Any other commissioners have comments? Questions?
Commissioner Shannon McBride has had her hand up for a bit.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know if I have an opinion yet on the maximum number of clients or if it should be raised from 10. I mean, I live in a neighborhood where the houses are fairly close together, and I would be seriously impacted with a neighbor that was having, say, 15 cars or even 10 cars a day show up and park in front of my house. But that, like I said, I don't have an opinion about that, but I think getting back to what Thomas was commenting on, I think a discussion might be in order about whether or not these home occupation for a hair salon should be able to sell product or not, because I know that it's one of the way that hairstylists make money is not just by spending an hour cutting your hair, but being able to make a little bit of money on selling your product too. So it's just a comment.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't see the hand raised. I didn't have a full screen on, so. Any other commissioners have any questions or comments?
I just have a thought on the ability to sell goods on premise. I would say that cutting hair is something that you can only do in person, but selling product is something that you could do using other means, like having a web page or selling it online. So I think maybe in the spirit of equity for any home business, if we change it so that hair salons can sell goods, why not other businesses?
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, ask the commission to make a motion to set this for a public hearing on June 16th, 2021.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sorry, I'm not sure who that was.
That was me. I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor of recommending this item? Scheduling this item for public hearing on June 16th. Say aye.
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 Are there any nays? Hearing none, the motion carries. The home-based hair salon UDC text amendment will be set for public hearing on June 16th, 2021. Next item is number 4, PDSD staff announcements. Daniel?
Good evening, Honorable Planning Commission. After a marathon council meeting yesterday, I am comment free.
Thank you, Scott. I have one quick clarification just related to Commissioner Fink's questions from last time. So I just wanted to kind of bring this up. He had asked a question about substitute motions, and this was kind of a result of our kind of vote on the recreational or adult use marijuana item a few months ago. So just to let you know, substitute motions are made by another commissioner after a main motion has been made and seconded, but before they vote on the main motion that has been taken. When they're made, they must be voted on first before a vote can be taken on the main motion. And then if the substitute motion is passed, the main motion is dropped. So that's kind of how that works. He did ask, I think Commissioner Fink, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you did ask, I think, whether the commission would return to a vote on the main motion after the substitute motion has been made, seconded, and defeated. And the answer to that is correct. If that's right. So you would return to the main motion if the second substitute motion is defeated for that. So those just a couple clarifications related to some of those questions.
If I may, just to add to this, the reason why I asked about the substitute motions is because under our current rules, if a motion is made and seconded and voted down, we're done. And then the item goes to mayor and council with the idea that the commission did not make a recommendation, which I think makes everybody look bad, and it seems kind of ridiculous. So this was a workaround to that rule, which would allow us under some circumstances, if some item is kind of controversial, like the recreational marijuana, there was definitely several points of view, but because we only voted on one, it looks like we just couldn't come to a decision. So I think ultimately the best solution would be is if a motion is voted down, then our bylaws should be changed that then we're open to other motions. This is what the county's Planning and Zoning Commission does, as Chuck is well aware, is if an original motion is voted down, then another motion can be made. So in fact, something does go to the Board of Supervisors with the recommendation. So I'm not trying to create a situation where we can be snarky with each other. I was just trying to find out, do we have a workaround from a rule that I think doesn't really serve any good purpose? So if that makes things clear, I hope it does.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Next item is call the audience. I don't know if there's anybody from the audience with us tonight, but you're welcome to speak on anything that's not on tonight's agenda. Hearing none, next item is number 7, adjournment.
So moved.
Can I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, we're adjourned. That was quick. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, Chuck, and everybody else.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.